Hello there. My name is Peter
Hi.
Murphy Lewis, and I'm excited today to join with me Amy Bilson on short stories from the front line of long term care. Amy, welcome to the program. I'm excited to get to know you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, Amy, this program or this campaign that we've been running for about a month or two now is exciting because I get to know the human side of the frontline workers in long term care. Can you just tell me a little bit about you as a person and how you got into long term care?
Um, I got into this job actually by accident, believe it or not. I was about 18 years old and I had a couple that needed help in their home, and I decided to help them out. And the lady had Alzheimer's and the man had Parkinson's disease. And I loved it. I loved it. I made a difference, and I absolutely love that feeling of making a difference and helping people. And that was history.
And
From then on,
how
I
how
was
how long ago was that?
that was about 25 years ago.
And what was that your first job out of high school or out of college? What did you do before?
Before that, I was actually a housekeeper in nursing homes. So I've been working in them, just you know, not as long term care until about I was 19 or so.
And what is your role now? And where do you live and where do you work?
I live in Cheney, Kansas, but I work in Goddard, Kansas at Dove Estates, and I am a med aid here, also slash CNA, and I pass medications and help with the residents as needed.
And what do you like about your specific role? What makes you happiest in the day?
Oh my goodness. I like to make my residents laugh and smile. If I can, at the end of the day, if I can brighten their day and make them laugh or make them smile, I feel like I've done what I need to do. It's more than just, passing medications and doing what you have to do. It's going above and beyond and making sure that person feels good and making sure they're happy.
So you've been in long-term care for quite some time. If I
Yes.
asked you to name one of your happiest moments, what's a moment you think back and said, "Man, when I think of that, I still laugh out loud to myself in the car or when I'm brushing my teeth or making my coffee in the morning?"
Um, oh man, that's a tough one. I've had so many. Um, I guess one of the things that happened to me one time is that I was working in a memory care facility, and we had people there that needed extra help. Well, there was this man there that would play around and goof around with me all the time, and he had been having a particularly bad day. And I thought, well, he just needs a little bit of extra care. So I actually sat down with him and I talked with him. Well, I went to get up and he hid behind the door and he scared the crap out of me. We both started laughing and laughing and laughing, and that just made his day so much better. And every time I think about that, I I die laughing because it was just so random.
That is funny. That is funny. One of the things that I ask guests once in a while, and I'm stealing this from someone. I should look it up and know who said this, but there was a famous football player, I think in the 80s or 90s, that said he gets paid by his team to work Monday through Saturday, but on Sunday he works for free. What
Mm.
is your equivalent of what you would do for free in long-term care? What part of the day is so exciting that it just feels like pleasure? It doesn't feel like work.
um, I get to sit and visit with the people that I take care of. I get to know them very well. They are, if you can sit and listen to their stories, if you can sit and listen to their lives and their passions and the things that they care about, that is what I would just do every day for free. I would just come in and just listen to them and talk to them. And that's what I would do. And that's what I think is equivalent to something that I do for free.
That's a spectacular answer. Amy, uh, tell me a little bit about your facility and your organization. What is it that you like about the culture? What is it you like about your teammates? Do you have a favorite resident that is just drawn to you? Tell me a little bit about what your work week looks like and what's special about it.
Okay. The culture here is amazing because it's not geared specifically towards looking at them as older people. It's geared toward looking at them as people and people with needs and people that are human. My team and I, we are amazing. We goof off all shift and we goof off with each other. We goof off with the residents. It's not serious. We don't take it serious here. And so it's always a lot of fun. And there's a lady that works that I work with here every day, and she is so we're so drawn to each other. It's amazing that I can go into her room and I just know if she's having a bad day, and she knows if I'm having a bad day. And it's almost like you get to know that person, and they know, and you know them,
Mm,
and
mm,
I can just tell that she's having a bad day. And I think what drawn us to each other is that she was joking with me and laughing with me one day, and then I don't know, we said, "It's me again, Margaret," and that's how I greet people. I don't know, I just do that as a joke. And she said, "I'm not Margaret." And then I said, "Well, what's your name?" And she told me, and she said, "Well, since I'm Margaret, you're Maggie." So that was that. And since then, it's been like we've gotten very close and gotten to know each other very well.
Amy, there has to be a couple listeners to this show that don't know it's me again, Margaret. I'm older, so I know it is. Where does that
Right.
come from?
Um, it actually comes from Ray Stevens. uh, uh, I listened to that one time, and I did it when I was working a couple jobs ago. I started doing that when I was first working. I was new to the people. They didn't know who I was. And so to kind of break the ice, I'd walk into the room and I'd knock on the door and I'd say, "Hello, it's me again, Margaret," just as a joke, and kind of
I
try to break the ice, with
I
people.
I don't remember the name. It's what's the one about where the squirrel gets loose at church with Ray Stevens?
Mississippi Score Revival.
Yeah, so I sing that one to my 5-year-old. So when you said
Yeah,
it's me again,
see?
Margaret, Amy, I can relate to Ray Stevens. I'm glad you shared that story. So, Amy, related to kind of like I always call it your compass, or because I speak Spanish with my wife, we say kind of the North Pole. What's one of the proudest moments in your life? Where's your North Pole related to long term care?
um, I think that I love that I am able to make that difference in people's lives.
Mm,
You know, I know that I can proudly say that at the end of the day, if you can do your best for somebody, then you're doing what you need to do.
mm,
It's kind of difficult for me to pinpoint down one specific thing because I try to get close to every person that I take care of. I try to get to know that person as much as I can.
mm,
And if I can make them feel comfortable, that's what you have to have heart in this job.
mm.
You have to be able to love people and give them your best and care about that person.
Indeed.
And that's your compass. And if you go by that, then you know that you're doing what you need to do.
If you were sitting down having a beer or a tea with your best friend and she asked you, she said, "Amy, you've been in long-term care a long time.
Uh-huh.
What's one of the proudest things that you've ever done that you might not ever brag in front of anybody else? Because I know you're humble and you're from Cheney, Kansas.
Yeah.
What would you tell your best friend?"
Um, there was a lady one time who was very secluded and she did not speak to people. And she had really bad Alzheimer's disease. And I remember I used to wear Crocs to work with the little holes in them.
Hmm.
And I started putting little designs, those little things inside the holes of the Crocs. Well, I wore them one day and she looked at my shoes and she said, "Oh my gosh, look at those shoes. That's crazy." And she opened up to me and she began to talk to me. And we became very close. And she called me a little brat all the time in the hallways. And because I gave her pills. So I was a little brat. And then she'd hug me and she'd say, "I love you." And I would say, "I love you too." And she said, and then she'd walk away, a little brat. But that was something that I was so proud of, that I broke through to that person that didn't seem like they wanted to ever talk to anybody or speak to anybody or do anything.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Amy, what advice would you give to your younger self related to our industry and your work and working with the elderly, working with memory care?
My younger self, um, take your time. With long term care, sometimes and doing this profession, it can get to where you feel like you just come to work and do what you have to do and go home, because it's fast paced sometimes. But just slow down, take your time.
Hmm.
It's not the end of the world if not everything gets done, but it could be the end of the world if someone doesn't feel loved or cared about. It just could be. You just never know what kind of a difference you're going to make if you just slow down and take the time.
When I tell, friends that, I just recently joined long-term care in the last year, I tell friends that they don't understand it. The only thing I can say for them to understand is nursing home, and then people often say, "Oh, that's where people go to die." What's one thing that people don't know about long-term care that you love or you wish that the rest of our society understood?
It can be a place where people come, but also you have to be able to understand that you have to look beyond that, because if you love somebody enough, um, it doesn't make it work.
Mhm.
It's not work, and it's not a place. You don't think about it in that sense. You think about it in a place where maybe people came, and most of the people that come into your facility have lost everything.
Mm,
They've lost their homes, they've lost their spouse, maybe they've lost their ability to handle their finances, they've lost the ability to maybe drive, they've lost the ability to have any kind of independence at times. And you have to look at it in their viewpoint like that. You have to look at it like that.
mm,
That's why they're scared when they come in. They don't know you, you don't know them. They're nervous, they're sad, and
mm,
you have to be able to look above and beyond all that. You have to go into that room and, like I said, try to make them laugh, try to make them smile, try to make them feel comfortable in your facility. If you can do that, they will feel much better about where they're at. And I think people don't understand that. People don't understand it from the viewpoint of the residents that come into the facility. They just see it as, oh, that's an old folks' home.
mm.
But they are the ones that suffer the greatest. And so you need to be the one that makes them feel like maybe they haven't lost everything.
Mm. Amy, if you had an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old boy or girl say, "Hey, I want to be a CNA," what would you tell them about it?
I tell them you're going to face a lot of challenges. You're going to face a lot of pain, because when you lose someone, it's very sad. It's very painful. That's the worst part of the job, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. If you could get in this profession, you're going to have so many great memories. You're going to make so many, people feel better.
Mm,
And it doesn't matter if you have a bad day. It doesn't matter if you have a bad day. You got to come in and make sure that they feel good. They feel special.
mm,
You're here for maybe 8 hours, 10 at the most. And, in those 8 hours, you got to put aside whatever's going on and make sure that that person that you're talking to and taking care of feels good.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this program, one of America's oldest EHR companies, Experience Care, for sponsoring LTC Heroes and the show of Frontline Caregivers. Amy, before we sign off, I just want you to share our personal story